Everything I really need to know, I learned in improv acting. When I was 30, I was a workaholic. I was running around crazy, thinking I had to impress everybody, very much up in my ego. And there was something inside of me, this silly, character driven storytelling wacko that wanted to come out. And so I had been on Great Expectations, a dating site in Chicago, and I went to a show with a date and they called me up on stage. It was an improv show. And I actually did pretty well. And the guy whispered in my ear, "You should take a class." And I just kind of laughed it off. And then I ended up dating a guy who had moved from New York to Chicago specifically for Saturday, or not Saturday Night Live, Second City, and he got me an application. He's like, just go take a class. Changed my life. I stepped on stage, all of this things that had been built up since childhood got to come out and I got to play. So what I'd like to do is share some of the things that improv can do for you. And number one was smashing your ego, because in business, that all work, no play, that can really mess you up. And also there's this false concept in our society that it's bad to play and that you've got to be number one. I was in sales, so you're as good as your last month. And I stepped on stage and I continued. And what I learned, one of the things I learned, was to play well with others. It's not all about you. You lay gifts upon your partner's feet. How do you listen? I had a sales manager who said you have two ears and one mouth for a reason. In improv, that's very, very, very accurate. To learn how to actively listen was one of the greatest gifts that to this day, 30 years later, after that very first class, that I have received. And it ends up that I ended up starting teaching it because I got so many gifts from it. I taught for about 15 years. And I went beyond improv comedy. I went into long form. In Chicago, I studied the Del Close method, so to speak, of the Herald. And I expanded from there into acting and learned how to get in touch with emotions, which also helped my inner child. Acting is not therapy, but is therapeutic for sure. So that's the stations. That's not the station, but whatever I'm doing right now, that's the theme, is I'm going to share tips and quotes from great improv teachers and some of my experiences to help you in everyday life. Thanks.